Alright, y'all, I'm back. It's your boy, Ill Will, on the Remote Generation channel. You know what I've been doing, you know what I'm on. So let's get back to it. Alright, so this is another one just showing you how the game predicted things. And we got some other details that we'll go over today too, but again, remember me showing you this mirror right here. The X was telling me that LA would not win the championship. It wasn't talking about the bubble championship. It was talking about the championship for this year. And I'm going to prove that to you once again in this video. There's a lot to take away from this picture in the mirror, but we'll get to that as the video wraps up. But on your own, what you can do is you can look up that word up there. It's called Bacorn. It'll blow your mind. Now, millions of people play this game every day. Millions of copies are sold, and I don't see anybody talking about the things that I'm talking about that are within this game. And that's because I don't think very many people paid attention to these things. All right, but right here in this slide, I'm showing you once again the game predicting something. If you look at the devil's finger right there, it's pointing up to some clouds, but those clouds make the shape of a buck's head. Now, again, this is a game from 2019, well before the championship was won by the Bucks. So it's just again proving and showing that somebody knew who was going to win a championship. I'm not saying the league is rigged, probably is though, but it did show you who would win a championship on 2K. If you look at the left side of that mural, obviously the devil's lit up, turned up, got some glasses on. I guess he'll be able to see something. What it looks like to me is, again, I showed you Revelation 9 where he tells you scorpions and locusts will be coming up out of the ground, and you can see that under that ghost that's orange right there. And by the way, orange and blue usually indicates the brotherhood, the M&Ms, those boys. But in Revelation 9 it said those locusts and those scorpions would have stingers. Well, if you look locusts up some places and stingers, it leads you to believe something of maybe a syringe type of deal. Anyway, this is another thing that they predicted, and it was the PPP stuff. And we all know how that worked out. But if you look right here in the mirror, I have it circled. It says trick on the left side, treat on the right side. But as it says treat, you can also make 3 individual P's out of that initial group of letters. Now the green thing in the middle, that's gonna be indicative of something toxic, something sick, almost like a phlegm, but with more of a demonic overtone to it. And we'll get back to that later on, but they showed that to us for many, many years now. Even on Nickelodeon, when you got Slimed and Ghostbusters, even with High C Ecto Cooler, if y'all remember that kind of stuff. They've been showing us this for years. Also pay attention to the top of the mural, not the painting, but the actual top. What you see in there is the actual skyline. Hey man, any of y'all got any more of them loans? I need a rock. Those PPP loans really put people in a bind, real talk. Anyway, moving on. So the Roman god Janus, which sounds like Giannis, all right, is a double-headed god. Remember, we came out of the year 2020, which is equal and identical to itself. So as the year was 2020, this is also the same representation that you see with the Roman god Janus. And we all know, or you should know, if you read the Bible, if you know anything about it, that it says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And here you can kind of tell, of course, he'd be the deity over trick and treat, but what people don't understand is most times you get both, or if you accept part, you get the other part, the trick and the treat. It tells us that Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, times, dualities, doorways, and passages, and also the god over travelers. Travelers is also just a name for people who, quote unquote, time travel or have access and ability to open portals and travel through them. And that may sound far-fetched to a lot of you, but it's historical, biblical evidence for portals. And of course, these are things that they didn't want us to know that they've been using for quite some time now, I'm sure, or at least have mimicked the technology to do it themselves, but who knows? They say that the technology is 10 years ahead of where the general public is, so I can see that happening. But again, there's biblical references that point to that. Now, Janus is going to be one of the fallen angels spoke about in Genesis and in the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, and many other texts that are out there in the world to read. But the book of Enoch really explains a lot in great detail about the fallen angels and their purposes and what they did. So moving on, checking out the next slide. Now, I put the filter on it again like I've done in previous videos, just to show that once you do that, it really brings the picture to life and shows hidden things that weren't there, obviously. Now, when you look back at the top of the mural where I told you there was the cosmos, up in the upper left-hand corner, that's going to be your moon. And those lines there, those are going to be like imaginary highways or roads. Now, these highways or roads lead to what I presume to be portals. So, to me, this is just a roadmap indicating where and how to travel through these portals and the road and course that you take upon going through them. If you read the book of Enoch, when he talks about these three mountains that he sees, you get the picture of like the pyramids. Instead of just a mountain range, you get an idea of a pyramid. And that makes total sense. It's been well documented and talked about how the pyramids are actually places where interstellar travel can be achieved. Of course, a lot of people don't want to believe it, but reality is actually stranger than fiction, or at least gives it a good base. And again, the Book of Enoch, not held by many as a canonical book, to their detriment. Now there is two different Enochs, so let's understand something. There's an Enoch that deals with Enochian magic, and a righteous Enoch who dealt with the Most High God. Looking back at the mural, looking at Janus, this is a better description or way to look at Janus being male and female, just because over time that's what the desire is. And obviously, looking at the alphabet game, you can see that the lines are blurred. So just looking at the mural right here, I'm going to circle a few things just so we can look at it. And don't forget, this is what it looks like normally without the filter, and this is what it looks like with it on. But this is just the left-hand side. If you look at the golden rings, and if you look at them very carefully, you'll see what I'm seeing. It's a phallus. On each and every one of them, it's a phallus. Now, for those that don't know, a phallus is just a representation of the male reproductive organ. Where the purple circle is, if you turn that right side up, you could also see the female genitalia there. And for the far pink circle, if you look at it the long way, you'll see the face of a witch. You can also see the face of a bird, and there's many other things that you can see throughout this mural. Like if you go to the far left-hand side, that's a dragon on the very end, but it's the arm of the angel of death, or of the Grim Reaper. If you look at it properly, you can see that. Now on the right-hand side, again, there's your PPP. Not only does it have your PPP, but if you look at it, there's another, what looks to be phallic symbol right above the burgundy arrow. Could also be a rocket, could also be the Space Needle that you see in Washington. I think it's the rocket for Jeff Bezos. If you look at some of the other murals I put up, you can see his name etched in there, so it's not that far-fetched to believe. Now this is something important to look at. X really equals 6, which is why you see it XXX, why you see celebrities using it. And it's also why you see it right here on this trophy. The two X's you see combined with that one give you the 666.